So as a lot of you guys know, I find side quest design and quest design in general super important to building a world that is believable and interesting and worth playing. And that's not something that many companies can do really well and delicately without making it obvious they're trying to make really good side quests. For instance, I really enjoyed Assassin's Creed Odyssey this year, but one thing about their side quest design is that it's very clear they were trying to give you a lot of content and shove it down your throat, which is not a bad thing, at least there's content, but to get to that point where you have that high quality content and it's just discoverable and it's organic and naturally placed in the world, that's a whole nother thing. And that's something that very few companies can do well. And today I want to show you one such case of it being done very well that I encountered while playing through Red Dead Redemption 2 that I wanted to share with you. And yeah, before I show you, I guess I should preface this and clarify, this isn't a side quest strictly, this is a random encounter, so it's sort of a mixture of what a lot of games do. This is something that you are not forced to interact with, this is not something that you are guaranteed to find, even if you know where it takes place, when it takes place. It is a random encounter. Some people will never see this in their playthrough, some people will see it in the first 5 hours. It just depends on how you're playing and when the game decides it wants to offer this up to you if you happen to be in the right place at the right time. So I guess that's a spoiler warning, even though there's no guarantee you will ever see this, even if you're trying to see this, but I figured I would just tell you. It is a random encounter. Let me show you. So as I was exploring the world, I was just riding around, and this is later on in the story, but don't worry, there's no spoilers or anything here. I've got my top hat, I got my really long scraggly beard, and I was just riding through. I think I was going to go and try to do some hunting, and I encountered this house that looks pretty nice, and I was like, oh, that's a nice little homestead. And I keep riding, and then I see a very large man sitting on the porch, and he waves me in and welcomes me, and he's very familiar. Like, he's very welcoming and fraternal. He's just very kind. And in this game world, if you've done any exploring in it, you know this is abnormal. People are not this kind to strangers, nor should they be. So right off the bat, I and Arthur were a little standoffish, saying, no, I don't want to come in your house. You're nice and all, but I don't think this is a good idea. I'm just going to keep riding. And then his wife comes out, who is very smart, and she continues to kind of flirtatiously welcome him in, even though they're very close and amicable to each other. So it's a little weird. Finally, I relent. I walk in the house. He sits down at the table and starts to talk about how she's such a kind spirit and he's so happy to have Arthur here as a guest, but that she's going to take a while to get ready if you don't stop her. So he sends you up to the bedroom in order to hurry her along so that you guys can all sit down and have dinner together. Now, once again, bear in mind, this is completely random. I could walk out the front door right now and they would do nothing about it. It would just be, that's it. I guess I'll remember this and move on with my life. But I chose to go upstairs in the bedroom because I don't know. Now, if you are a reasonable person, you will be thinking what I, and I'm sure Arthur was thinking at the same time, which is, who in the hell sends a complete stranger up to check on his seemingly significant other while they're getting ready for dinner instead of going up yourself? It's so weird and awkward. I was sure I was going to walk up there and find a bunch of corpses piled high with like a throne made out of babies. I was sure I was going to see something horrible. But Arthur walks in and she's just at the little boudoir or whatever you call those things with mirrors, and she's getting herself ready and she says some flirty stuff, and then you go back downstairs, you sit down, she comes down all glamored up, and you start to have dinner, and it's weirdly nice and calm and welcoming. Now I'm gonna let the next bit play by itself. I don't want to interrupt. I'll just let it play.
Ain't this just about perfect? One of them moments you wish could last forever.
Well, like I said, I can't stay for long.
Then look at us, like a couple of old friends. It's a short life, but a merry one.
Here we are, all the fixins'. I hope you boys left some room in your trousers.
That smells delicious. The food don't smell too bad neither.
Oh, stop it, you! How do you like it?
It's good. Different.
That meat is so tender. You know what? This place used to be a pig farm when we was kids. Before we lost our ma and pa. Horrible business.
Horrible.
But we still got each other, ain't that right, honey pie?
And we still know how to have a hog killing time.
Here, that's for you.
Yeah.
There.
Where are my manners? Drinks.
Yeah, I could definitely use a drink.
So they start like giving him this weird devil juice that makes him super, super tipsy and is probably pure gasoline or ethanol or something. He keeps drinking it, and they actually do give you a chance. They give you a choice here where you can keep drinking or you can just leave and get out of there. Once again, I chose to keep drinking because whatever. So I take one more swig of the rocket fuel, and Arthur gets even dizzier, and the world's going all beautiful and colory. And finally, he passes out, and this happens.
Oh, about time. And take whatever cash he has on her and put it behind Mama.
So he instructs this lady who is seemingly his significant other, like wife lady, and then also his sister, because he implies that their mother and father was their mother and father before all of this happened. It's so weird. He says, take any cash he's got on him and put it behind mother, whatever the hell that means. We'll get to that in a minute. And then you wake up in basically a ditch with another body on top of you. Maybe this was also mother's body. I don't know. It's not really clear. Now, once again, we're talking about player agency and the freedom to do what you want. They took all of my cash. They took like $380, which in these days is basically like walking around with a Lexus in your pocket. So I had a choice now. No quest markers, nothing. I could go about my business and just keep exploring, which initially I was going to do. I was like, oh, well, they got me. You know, that was kind of funny and cool. Whatever. The brother-sister, he-she, father-mother duo, they won. I'm not even upset. But I realized I had ridden my horse to the house, and I had hopped off my horse, and the horse was likely still hitched up where I left it. So I looked at my map and I saw where I had left my horse, and I decided I was going to go back and I was going to have a word with them. I was going to talk to them about what had happened. And if the game had fully prepared, surely they would be there and the money would still be recoverable. So that's what I did. I returned to the house after preparing, went up the front steps, broke down the door, and I stormed in, saw the lady, and gave her a very warm welcome. Did the same to her brother, husband, lover. And then proceeded to look through the house to try to find my money. And there was a prompt telling me that the money should be somewhere in this house. And then I remember what the dude told me. He said, take the cash, put it behind mother. Turns out right as you walk in the doorway, there's a portrait of their mother sitting there. So I took the portrait down, and sure enough, there's like a little cabinet, and all of my money is sitting there plus a little extra. So I took the money and then I left the house, and that was it. And what makes this so great is that it's entirely focused and centered around player agency and decision. At any point, I could have walked away. At any point when the brother, husband, lover is sitting there on the porch and welcomes me into his house saying, hey friends, we just want to offer you some dinner. At that point, I could have walked away, just hopped on the horse, ridden away. That's it. Game over, Red Rover. Never seen him again. Never encountered him again. But I chose to walk inside. I could have walked out of the house when he told me to go check on his sister wife, and that made me uncomfortable. So I could have left right then and there. I could have left, but I chose not to. I chose to stay. I could have stopped drinking and left there. Chose not to. I chose to keep drinking. I get thrown in a ditch. I could have said, okay, well, that's it. And then I go about my business and never encounter them again. Once I stormed in the house, I could have said, well, you know what? They could have killed me. They had the option to, and certainly the ability to, but they didn't. So I'm not going to kill them. I'm not going to be violent. I'm going to go hog tie them. I'm going to take my money back wherever it is, and I'll be on my way and let them live their weirdo brother, sister, husband, lady relationship life all by themselves. And yes, that is an actual path that you can choose. You can just hogtie them and go through this completely peacefully. I just was a little more upset. As with all great things in life, it is temporary and it's not guaranteed, and it's more importantly very, very fragile. At any point I could have bailed and not had the same experience as any one of my friends who have played this game. I actually texted around several of my buddies who have been playing Red Dead Redemption all the way through, some who have finished it, some who have just done the hunting stuff and just been exploring, and only one of them encountered this couple and they left almost immediately. I am the only person that I know who has been playing this game that has encountered this group in this way. And maybe you've encountered them in this way too, or maybe you've never seen them before. But that's exactly the point, is that they don't force it to be one way. And there's something so baller about that. I don't know how to describe it strictly. It's just so baller to say, yeah, no, we got awesome little events that can happen, really interesting characters and things that happen. There's no guarantee that you'll encounter it because we have so much of it. We're just going to let you find it, maybe. That's just so baller. I can understand why some people might be frustrated by it, but I find it so cool that they're so confident in the world that they've built. And the world is so alive that they don't need to force it on you. They can just leave it there waiting to be discovered. And that is what phenomenal open world design looks like, because it lets you see what the world's all about. It makes you emotionally attached to it, to the point where I became so aggressed and upset that I had been bamboozled in this way, no matter how obvious a scam it was, that I chose to go back to that house, find that house, even though there was no marker, nothing helping me to find it, and reclaim my money. That's what's so phenomenal about this, is that it motivated me emotionally to interact with the world further. And now the more I explore the game world, I'm sure the more I'm gonna find things like that motivate me to continue exploring, to continue finding things like that. That's phenomenal open world design. I can't praise it enough. I feel like I'm just talking in circles. Bye. I am really bad at outros. I feel like I should probably polish that one up. Thank you for watching. Honestly and truly, I do really appreciate it, and it means the world to me that anybody watches these. So just thank you. That's all. Thank you.